Good morning, students. Today we will discuss the chapter Should Wizard Hit Mommy? This chapter is from your Vistas book written by John Updike. In this chapter, we will learn about how an adult's view is different from a child. It is more realistic, practical, and matter of fact due to an adult's experiences in life. Now, let's start the summary. Jack, the name of the father who narrates stories to his 4-year-old daughter Jo in the evenings and on Saturdays for putting her to sleep. This practice of storytelling began 2 years back and was mentally taxing for Jack. Each story that Jack narrated was a minor variation of the basic tale. It started with a small creature, usually named Roser. Roser could be a fish, squirrel, chipmunk, or any other animal. This time, Jack narrates story about a Roser skunk. Roser skunk wanted to play with other animals, but they would run away from him because he smelled very bad. He felt humiliated and hurt at their behavior. Jack feels happy that he was telling his daughter something true and similar to one of his own childhood experiences, which she must know. While narrating the story, he thought of his wife who was busy in painting the furniture downstairs. He wanted to help her, but Jo kept him preoccupied. Like earlier Roses in the stories that Jack had narrated to his daughter, Rose's skunk visited the wise owl to find a solution to his problem. He was in tears and the owl told him to visit the wizard. At this, the inquisitive Jo asked her father if magic spells were real. Jack told her that they were real in stories only. Jack, however, did not like her questioning attitude, which had begun a month ago. This time, her question made him miss a bit in the narrative. So he continued his story. He continued, guided by the owl's directions, Rose's skunk reached the wizard's house. The wizard was a tiny old man with a long white beard and a pointed blue hat. The wizard found Rose's skunk foul smelling and asked him not to get too close to him. Rose described him problem and asked him to make him smell like roses. The wizard chanted a magic rhyme and made Rose's skunk smell like roses. At this moment, Jack finds in Joe's expression a reflection to his wife. As Jack continued the story, he mistakenly referred to Rose's skunk as Rosa fish. At this, Joe immediately caught his mistake. Jack corrected his mistake and continued the story. The wizard asked Rose's skunk to give him 7 pennies, but he had only 4 pennies. At this, the wizard told him where he would find the remaining money. He found it and gave them to the wizard. When he came back, the other creatures gathered around him because he smelled so good. Rose's skunk was very happy and rushed home. His mother found the smell of roses awful, got infuriated and scolded him. Rose's skunk's mother was angry because the wizard had made her baby smell like roses. She wanted the original smell of her baby. She took Rosa to the wizard and hit the wizard over his head. Hearing this, Jo interrupted her father and said that the wizard should have hit Rosa's mother back and refused to change his smell. Jack told her that it is her daddy's story, and if she kept on interrupting, he would not tell her any more stories. He continued the story and said that the wizard gave in and changed Skunk's order. Now, Skunk smelt foul once again. Mother and son returned home and waited for Father Skunk's return from Boston in the evening. When Father Skunk returned, they had a lavish meal. Mommy and Father Skunk hugged and kissed Rosa to sleep. Now, Jack continued that Rosa's skunk now played heartily with the little animals. They did not run away because gradually they got used to the foul smell and did not mind it at all. But Jo did not like the ending of the story. She did not like the fact that the wizard had been hit by Rose's mommy. She wanted the wizard to hit back Rose's mommy right over the head. Jack disagreed, saying that Roser loved his mommy more than anyone else, and she knew what was good for him. He advised Joe to go to sleep and went downstairs. When Jack reached downstairs, he saw Claire, his wife, busy painting the furniture. Claire complained of the delay in his coming down. When Jack underwent a change of mood, he found himself and his wife trapped in a cage. He did not want to speak to her, work with her, or touch her. He felt he was caught in an ugly middle position. Either he found life meaningless and dull, he could not convince his 4-year-old daughter, and earn a rebuke from his wife. Life, he thought, was enveloped in uncertainties, and he found hard to accept that his little daughter asserted herself and forced him to change the ending of the story. He felt caught between his imaginary world of stories and the dull and meaningless world he was living in. Here, the moral issue that the story raises is whether parents are the best judge of what is good for their child or not. A sharp contrast is displayed in the story about the child's viewpoint and an adult's perspective of life. Thank you. Have a nice day.